They issued her gear and everything. But, well, when they do that, that's serious.
Announcements.
They really are. I mean,
Yeah, they're not kidding. You know.
Yeah.
It's not a normal issue. They're normal shots either.
6 o'clock on a beautiful Thursday evening here at the metropolis of Mountain Home. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have a quorum has been called duly, and appropriate notice has been given. I would like to welcome these fine young men to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They are representatives of the USS Arkansas. And we'll do the pledge, and then if you would introduce yourselves.
Y'all can come forward if you want to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Podium.
Podium.
Well, you probably talk loud enough that you don't have to have a podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lieutenant Junior Grade Stansel, here from the USS Arkansas. And I'll introduce, we have, why don't y'all just come up. It's been a long day of talking.
Good evening, I'm Petty Officer Sharma.
Good evening, I'm Petty Officer Sullivan.
Good evening, I'm Petty Officer Yacht King.
Thank you. What's the difference of black pants and khaki pants?
It just depends on the rank and just different jobs.
Have you talked yourself out all day today?
Oh, yeah. That's a
You're
lot of
tired.
honesty. We talked to the third, fourth, and fifth graders, and then the
Wow.
sixth graders and seventh graders, so it's a lot of yelling.
Good deal. And then you got tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what we're doing tomorrow, if you would Oh, I'm sorry.
We have to check this
I think it's at the high school.
It is at the high school. Tomorrow's at the high school,
Yes.
and they are going to be joined in a little bit by some officers and some more crew members. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we will have a presentation for them, and I'd love for them to tell us a little bit about what they've been doing, and of course, the favorite question of the day. If y'all tell me you heard at Hackler, third, fourth, and fifth graders about the dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, they'll be ready.
Okay, very good. Well, all right.
Move to approve the agenda and the minutes of the September 21st meeting and September 27th meetings.
Thank
Second.
you, Jason and Daniel. Any discussion? All in favor? We don't have to do that for this, but we will. Unanimous. All right. Now you get to do your presentation.
Well,
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's going to be, yeah,
Yes.
never mind. We're going to smooth right on into academic reports from Mr. Dustin Rose.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
We're going to, Miss Billy, would you do me a favor? Would you back out of that real quick? I'm going to ask that Mr. McCarn come up first. He's got another event to get to, and I would love for him to come up. He's going to talk to you about the community service graduation requirements that he and his team have been working on diligently. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all for allowing me to do that and put me at the front of the list. Wanted to speak with you all tonight about community service. Act 237 of the 2023 Arkansas Learns Act states that all students who are set to graduate in the academic year 2026-2027 or beyond are required to complete a minimum of 75 block hours of documented community service prior to graduation. They have also passed the Arkansas Learns Act. DESE has pushed out a little bit of guidance for us in the commissioner's memo, and they are defining community service as work that is done without pay to help people in a community. And so here's what you need to know as a presentation for you all, so you can kind of know the work that we're doing with this, and you can know everything that's going on. So this does impact this year's 9th grade class, because this year's 9th graders will be the graduating class of 2027. And so the classes that are 9th grade this year and beyond, this will impact. And Kelly's got a slideshow going that we're going to present to families and students too, that we can follow along with. So DESE, their guidance is 75 hours, as I stated, is what they're expecting for the students to get for the graduation requirement. They have laid that out in a suggested minimum number of community service hours that the kids will do. So what they're suggesting is in the 9th grade, they get 15 hours. And then in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, they get 20 hours concurrently every year after that. One little side note to that is one of the first questions that have come up when we started working on this is, well, what if a 9th grade kid wants to do 30 community service hours? Well, that is certainly doable. There is no maximum number of hours that they can do per year, but this is the suggested minimum that they get, that they do, okay?
Would
Can
it-
we go to the next slide? Yes.
Would it, though, lump into the whole 75? So they could do 75 in 1 year and be done?
Yes, ma'am. They can certainly, if they want to, in their 9th grade year, if they want to get 75 hours, and that it's vetted through our process and approved, then yes, they have fulfilled the requirement and are good to go.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Ask questions. Any questions you all have, ask as we go along, because that's what this is going to be, is just questions that come up when we talk about this to our community and our parents.
So this will follow students if they change schools?
So yeah, so that's a great question, Barbara, because so one of the common questions that we've been getting so far already, that we've been receiving in our task force is, what about a kid that transfers in? And this is one issue that is addressed in the DESE Commissioner's Memo where they give us some guidelines. And so the way that looks, if they transfer within Arkansas, then those hours should just transfer through. If we have a student that is transferring from out of state, then say they come to us their 11th grade year. So if they come to us their 11th grade year, then they will be asked to do the 20 hours their junior year and then their senior year. But there is no retro to go back and get those hours for the 9th and 10th grade. So if they're transferring within Arkansas, it should be a little bit easier, but the expectation after that, if they just come in their senior year, then 20 hours is what we'll need to get those kiddos. So that's a great question. That's one that comes up a lot too. So this slide just tells you a little bit about the history. I won't go through a whole lot of this, but in 1993, we started with a law, legislature passed a law of a service learning requirement or community service requirement. And so the way that transpired and looked is we started having a service learning class at the high school that is an elective that the kids could take. And when they did that, the 1993 law said that they could do that service learning class and they could earn 1 credit towards graduation. In 2018, the slide shows that that also became part of your ESSA index. So they started adding that into your SQSS indicator in your ESSA index. And so that kind of also went into our grade reporting and all that. Of course, now what I'm telling you is all that has changed. Because it is not going to be an elective class. We can still offer the class for our kids that are in there now. We're certainly not going to take that away. But the kids are going to log these hours and vet these hours, and then that's going to be the new law that comes through of getting this through and getting their hours to graduation. Okay? Next slide. So the process for this, what we're wanting to do is we are wanting to, as Mountain Home Public Schools, Mountain Home Junior High, Mountain Home High School, is we are wanting to offer our kids and our families a couple of different options to be able to meet this requirement. We certainly have expectations that we are going to have projects within the school day, and we're going to bus our kids to wherever this project is, and we're going to fulfill this service learning requirement by doing some projects during the school day. We also certainly hope to allow families and students to do some stuff outside of the school day where they can also do some community service stuff and some service learning stuff that we can count those hours. So this is all tied to curriculum, of course, but what we're going to do is we're going to have a Google form. Kelly, can you click on that MHPS volunteer log? So students, whether within the school day or outside the school day, our vetting process for this is we are going to have a Google form that will look like this for each graduating class. So this is the class of 2027, what theirs will look like. And when they complete service learning hours or community service hours, they will fill this form out. And when they do this, then it will populate a spreadsheet for us, and then myself, the administrators at each school, and the counseling department can go through and vet that spreadsheet, and then go through and make sure that it's legit, that they've done what they need to do, those kind of things, okay? So the kids will do this in class too. So for instance, we already have plans in our Keystone class to be able to have a Friday in November where every kid in the Keystone class is going to take 5-10 minutes and they're going to fill this out. They can fill it out on their own, but we're going to have them sit down, fill this Google form out. They sit down, fill it out, put their hours in, gives us a spreadsheet, and we rock and roll forward with that, okay? We do have a task force put together too that we can call together that consists of folks from the high school and the junior high, along with Dr. Brown and Mr. Rose and Dr. Rob Connor, that we can get together and we can kind of go over some things there too. So, next one. So this one is, well, okay, what if where do we know how to serve, and what happens with people like a nonprofit in the area or a business in the area that wants to partner with us to be able to fulfill this requirement? And so this is what this slide is about. The state does have an approved list. Kelly, you want to click on that one? So in their commissioner's memo, they put this out, which the state has an approved list. It's by county, and you can see Baxter County there. We're not real excited about that list. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but it's not real extensive. We have a whole lot more opportunities in our area that they recognize. So that's the state list, which we can access. But then if you'll click on the next one, we will have this Google form where any nonprofit or any business can go in here and they can fill out this Google form and say, and alert me in the high school that, hey, we want to partner with you guys in this. They can fill this out. We'll get our task force together, approve the list, vet the list, and then that's how we will come up with the partner list that needs to be approved. So, by the way, all of this is going to be on our website. Melissa Shishine is going to help me, and we're going to put all of this on our website so we can direct any patrons to where it is on the website. So we did have this. We're going to talk a little bit about safety precautions. We want to talk to our parents about this and make sure that they understand that anything that's done outside the school day, we definitely want to have some safety precautions that we talk to them about. And so that's the points on this that I'll be talking to the parents about and making sure they understand that we want to keep our kids safe through this, and we don't want to put them in a position where it's going to be a safety issue outside of school. Okay, so this one we're going to put in here. So here's what I would say about this slide is usually when you hear about community service, it's more of a punitive thing. Typically, community service is an opportunity for students that have some kind of punitive issue or whatever to make up stuff. That's not what we're talking about here, even though what it says in the Learns Law is community service. We're talking about service learning. And so we hope to take this as an opportunity to educate our parents, educate our kids that this is not a punitive measure, this is a service learning opportunity. This is an opportunity for us to have lessons in our AAPs, to have lessons in our Keystone class, to educate and tell them there's so much more to service learning that ties to the curriculum, and there is no expectation of anything punitive here. We want to vision this, be really intentional with this about the service learning component and the resources that go along with it. It's an excellent opportunity, and we're kind of excited about the opportunity to be a little benevolent and get out there in our community, partner with community partners, and really get some good work done that needs to be done in our community. I would say too, that's the last slide that would be gone over with the parents, but I would say too that we feel like this really partners well with what we've already done with our pathways. So we're really going to work intentionally with intertwining those, what happens with our pathways and what we're doing with our service learning component. So what I mean by that is we have already met with, and I've spoken to the CTE advisory board, And we are already starting to get ready to roll on projects we've had a gentleman from Friends of the River that's ready to come on the junior high campus or wherever, start to paint the murals on the, what do you call those, the sewer drains or whatever, like the high school. And so we're gonna get with some art students, and they're gonna get with him, and we're gonna do that as a service learning aspect. So there are connections there with our CT advisory board and what we're doing with our pathways that we really feel like we can connect. And one comment that really hit me when we were talking about this to the CT advisory board is there is a really good connection here where we talk about that pipeline of employability and those kids being ready. Well, hopefully if we're intentional with this, that may be the first opportunity for an employer to be able to make a relationship with a kid. And so we hope that that's the first this service learning component, if we can be really intentional with it, figure out what the kids are kind of gravitating to, have our projects go that way, that may be an opportunity to open some doors in that relationship with an employer and get those kids where they're ready to go down that path, take those classes, get in an internship at the high school. And so we see some really cool opportunities there with that.
It could even help them if they thought that's what they wanted, make a decision to change.
That's right.
Before they get out.
That's right. Some service learning components of that could definitely let them kind of dip their toe in the water a little bit and figure out that that's not what they want.
So they could be doing this like nursing homes or all
Yes.
those.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We have plans to reach out to definitely Hiram Shaddix, Sycamore Springs, get some kids there. We have plans to reach out to ASU Mountain Home. They would like a lot of help with the Coulter, what's that called? The lights, the Coulter lights. We have plans to get with some other agencies. There's a push right now. It's called Keep Arkansas Beautiful, Fall Keep Arkansas Beautiful campaign. So we have plans to partner with them through some different organizations and stuff at the school and fulfill the service learning requirement with those too. So a lot of opportunity. Take a little organization. It will take a little vetting process, but it's worth the work to get these kids to understand what service learning is and understand what it means to kind of get back a little bit.
Are we one of the first states to implement that, or?
As far as I know, yes.
It's good, maybe it'll take off and.
Yeah.
Kyle, what about kids that, or Mr. McCarn, what about kids who, I mean, there may be a senior who can't drive
Yeah.
or parents that can't
Yeah.
provide these services? Could you
Yeah.
make sure the board understands what
Absolutely.
the plan is?
So we are going to do everything in our efforts to make sure that opportunities are available between 8 and 3:10 for the kids, because we have kids that, Ron could probably speak to this a little better than I can, but we have kids that get on the bus at 6 in the morning and may not get home 6 a.m., get home at 6 p.m. And so they may not have the transportation to do this outside of school. So we are going to do everything we can to plan projects between that 8 and 3 o'clock hour. We will bus them wherever they need to go as a group and get these hours done in that manner. We definitely don't want to make this a gotcha thing where, you know, we don't want to get a kid to the senior year and they're like, oh man. So we really want to make that happen, but we also don't want to deny any kid if they do things outside of the school. We don't want to deny them those opportunities either. But we're going to build as much as we possibly can within the school day and build those days in with the school where we, you know, go wherever. We may take 20 or 30 kids at a time, but that's what we're going to do, or maybe more. But we're going to have those opportunities during the school day.
Big plans.
Yeah.
Could be some online things they can do on the weekend maybe.
Absolutely.
Or stuff envelopes or something they could do at home for the weekend. There's
Absolutely.
always, I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity.
I really like where you're going with this. So it's not really a question, it's more of an observation. And we're dealing with on grade level, we're dealing with IQ, we're dealing with EQ, we're dealing with our individual schools being graded by the, I mean, as a holistic approach. I mean, we're trying to create young taxpaying citizens when we're done here and getting them into the community. I really see a lot of opportunities, and you do too, obviously. But we've got all these other things to blend it into, and it's just an observation, it's not a question, it's not a, problem. It's just, I think it's an opportunity that we need to be cautious with.
Sure.
That it doesn't turn into a community service, because if I was in high school and somebody told me how to do something, I'd tell you, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
How do we
Yeah.
deal with those kids at that point?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we can put the positive side on it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Another common thing that comes up that I feel like I should talk about, we already have some organizations that do community service. And so the question gets asked of me is, can they count for both? And the answer is yes. So what I mean by that is National Honor Society, they have a set of expectations for their community service, and students can count. If they do something for National Honor Society, it will count towards the graduation requirement. Our ROTC cadets do a fantastic job getting in the community. They do a lot of volunteerism. If they do something along those lines, it will count. The other really common FAQ or question that I plan on putting out there is 8th graders are not allowed to be in this, and we're a building of 8th and 9th grade. So what we're willing to do, and the expectation is the day after they get out of the 8th grade, if they want to do hours that summer, then we will help them go through the vetting process of filling out the forms and those kind of things. And that is something that is a recommendation from DESE to do that. So we do not have to wait until the 9th grade year starts. We can communicate with them and let them, if the family goes on a whatever, mission trip or whatever, they're working at the Salvation, July or whatever before their 9th grade year. We'll work with them on getting those hours logged and counting that.
Very good. Any other questions?
Thanks for clarifying.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarn. Are you waiting to leave, or are you waiting for your boss man that's standing outside the door?
Is the chief here?
Yes.
The chief is here.
We're
There
still
they are.
waiting on the chief and vote. He's flipping
Okay.
the coin for the 9th grade game. So
We're good.
Okay.
and
We're
I'll
good.
come in.
We're good.
When you see me walk in, then we'll be.
Okay.
All right.
We'll stop then. Okay, Miss Cotter.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
Real quick.
What?
I know he's already stepped out. Mr. McCarn has done a
Good thing they
fabulous
approved the
job
agenda.
leading that effort on that. They jumped on it immediately when we found out all the details of it, and we got a great crew. We've had the honor sitting in on the task force, Dr. Brown and I. And then just seeing he mentioned the advisory board, and just seeing them light up when they seen the opportunities. He talked about that pipeline. But the big thing that we focused on has been, like he said, the giving back. And then also it's going to pay it forward too, so that's pretty cool stuff. But they've done great work on that for sure. All right, I'm just going to briefly cover the beginning of year reading data on our lower end K3. I think this is pretty common this time of year to go over that each year. We're looking at a couple things. The DIBELS, there's a brief description of what that is, the early literacy skills. Little short 1-minute fluency pieces, and these are the items that it goes over in DIBELS, the indicators. So these are always pretty scary at the beginning, but the good thing is it's beginning, and it gives us direction on what to do with it. And that's with any data, that's our plan with it, and we're actually using it, and then we watch it grow throughout the year. And then towards the end of the year, we see that red diminish, and it looks much prettier picture at the end of the year. But you can kind of see what you got there with the percentages and all that, and it's almost, I talked to Mr. Roach in kindergarten, it's almost exact flip by the end of the year. And I was looking back at last year's data and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to watch it change throughout the year. And I can even talk on this because I had a conversation with a 2nd grade teacher today. I happen to have a 2nd grade student, and she said through the testing and through this, so I know we're using these tests to guide our instruction. She said he was struggling with the NWF, the nonsense word fluency. And she said, so I pulled him small group, and we worked on that, and then he showed proficiency in that. And the cool thing for me as a parent is I've got to see that progression. I didn't even realize she was doing that small group. That's just part of the great work that they do in the buildings. And I was just telling them, I said, well, I knew there was something going on, because he's went from struggling to get through some of the weekly stories they read to now he's just zipping right through these things and understanding what he's reading. So they're doing great work. So that's just testament. No, we are taking this data. We're using it daily in the progress monitoring. She used that word progress monitoring, which is music to my ears. I know it is to Ms. Dewey's also. We like to hear that kind of thing. We're taking all the efforts that we're doing, we're using those daily. So,
How are you laying this against 22, 23?
it's very closely compared. I look back at last year's numbers, and it's very similar.
Within a point or so?
We can get that for you and send it to you.
It's
fairly easy to get.
Yeah, and it's eerily similar too, as far as the percentages.
We
at
can
this
send
point.
that tomorrow. Can you send
Oh,
it
yeah.
tomorrow?
Oh, we're talking a point or two, we're not
Yeah.
talking
Right, no.
3 or 4%?
No landslides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, it's probably very hard to get it, but like the kindergarten where you see, do you have a way to collect the data on maybe a pre-K program, those our students that attended a curriculum-based pre-K program?
I can tell you observation-wise, and we could pull those individual students, that it is unbelievable.
To see.
In the positive, the work that those ladies are doing
Yeah.
in our pre-K and the students that they're sending to kindergarten. They are noticing. That was brought up to me in the past few weeks by Mr. Roach.
Yeah, we had a data check-in, Ms. Dewey and I and Mr. Roach, and that was a big thing we talked about there. I had seen that at my previous campus where I came from, the vetted program that my district used in pre-K versus the other Head Start type programs. There's substantial difference, or didn't attend the program at all. There is definitely a strong correlation in the efforts that we put forth versus the ones that we don't.
What would you like an explanation between first and second grade there?
Summer.
No, but, I mean, when it got to third did better than second. I would expect to see a graph that would be slanted this way, the more they've been in our system,
Yeah.
to start out at a.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I see what you're saying,
Except
there's a
for
lot
it's
of
good for
different
kids.
possibilities there, yeah, I mean, summer's consistently a layoff for everybody, there's always a loss of learning, without knowing the kids individually, that kind of thing, but it could be a difference in abilities at that point, it could be a group that missed out on a lot more pre-K, that's getting back, that's about 3 years in, so that's, without seeing what they've done previously, that's gonna be one that's been heavily impacted through COVID as well. So there's definitely several different things that could attribute to that. You gotta think when they're in kindergarten, they're probably behind masks.
Well, I'd be more content if we could flip second grade and put it where first grade is. That
Sure.
would make more sense to me.
It would. I know what you're saying, yeah.
Any other questions? Information?
This last piece is our MAP, NWEA MAP test. Of course, that's K2 still using it for state assessment this year. We take that 3 times a year, so this is the beginning of the year results for that, and we went ahead and included third grade in this too, I believe I did. Hit that slide, yeah. So it's an adaptive test, if you remember, so obviously it's gonna judge them or grade them or change to them as they take the test, difficulty levels, things like that. So once again, this one's very similar to what we said earlier. As the year progresses, you see a lot of difference in the colors as the year goes on. And yes, this also is very similar to the previous year within a few points also. No, nothing giant, standing out at this point, but of course that we've seen down in the past. Once again, we use these daily, goes into SSBs, teachers are looking at it, the CT teams are looking at it, they're guiding their instruction. Like I told you, I got to see that firsthand today with that conversation, so you're doing great work.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Ms. Cauter, financial reports? Please and thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'll start first one, statement of changes in fund balance for the month ending September 30th. We ended the month of September with $13,334,452.84. Just to highlight a couple of funds from the month of September. If you recall, Fund 2223 is our required professional development fund from our state categorical funding. And at the end of last year, we utilized those funds to cover our ALE expenses, or to assist in covering those, which also in turn helped us with our Fund 2000 balance, increasing that. If you will notice, in that particular fund, we've received $143,462, and that is our full allocation for this fiscal year. The next fund I'd like to highlight is Fund 2397. This is our state school safety fund, and last year you approved the state school safety plan. And Chris, if you have anything to chime in, you can. We had to obligate all of those funds prior to the end of the year, and so now we've received our first reimbursement from the purchases that we made last year, and we received $108,646.23 to date on that. Any questions on that? Okay, next we have statement of changes in revenue, expenditure, and expenditures for the month of September. We had total revenues of $2,555,961.92, with total expenditures of $3,607,554.72. Moving on to our monthly operating fund balance tracking. This looks at funds 1, 2, and 4 combined. We ended the month of September with $7,202,573.52. I'd just like to point out, as a reminder, that we did receive our $1.5 million last month for our LEARNS funding. And so that bumped this balance up, and if we were to look at what our balance would be without that money, it'd be around $5.7 million. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like compared to other years. Next, we have our statement of changes in activity funds for the month of September 30th, 2023. We ended the month of September with all of our activity funds combined with $514,742.34. The following pages are, the next 3 pages are our system report that supports the information that I just shared. And then after that, we have the check register, where you can see all the checks that were written for the month of September.
Any questions?
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome.
Enrollment report.
Let's see, the enrollment, unfortunately, right now, we are beginning to trend downward, which was expected as we started, after everything kind of got in the books, as far as kids not coming or showing up. There are not huge losses in each grade level. If you look at the reasoning on that 3rd page, I think, is that right, 4th page? Is that the right page? Next, that's it, that one. I was looking at that today, and your majority of kids have just moved, whether to a different school, in-state or out-of-state. We didn't have a significant number of homeschool. You know, I listen to those phone calls every day with Mr. C. And can't try to talk a kid into staying, but we can make sure that they're aware of what we can offer, even if they just want to homeschool for part of the day. So, or come on campus for part of the day. So lots of effort being made there to show our kids still, and families, what they still can do even at the elementary. And we do have quite a few that come from elementary just for specials or GT or some of those things.
Okay.
So we're gonna shake the bushes, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
We don't shake the bushes.
Bill, go have some more kids, would you?
My ship has sailed.
All right, on that note, Mr. Knight, jump on up here and move on with facilities report, please, and thank you.
So the track is complete, with the exception of striping, and it doesn't have as many rules about when you can and can't do it, so they're pushing that to be done after football season's over, but in time for track. The security doors, they're completely done at kindergarten, they're just not active yet. Steve and the tech guys got to start doing badges and getting that done, but they've got it configured, and they've already started pre-wiring Nelson Wilkes and Hackler, and so probably by next regular board meeting, we're going to see hopefully some functional badging in, badging out, some doors, locks being changed, and more school stuff. And then I guess I want to remind you all that we've got a training scheduled for November 2nd. And before that meeting, there is an open forum for the public to attend and ask questions about the master plan. So you guys can work hard and come up with some really good questions. Elise will be here, and she's top notch. She can't think of anything you guys could ask that she couldn't answer.
November 2nd.
November 2nd.
November 2nd.
Good deal. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Board action items. Mr. C. Request to approve student transfers.
Do it all one now. Make a motion to.
Here we go again.
That's not bad.
Now,
Good evening, and like Ms. Dewey said about the enrollment, it's all about moving. This whole entire sheet just families that moved. So we sort of gained 2 kids in this process that were our kids last year. They moved to different districts, they tried the new district, didn't like it, want to come back. So that's the first, that's Cotter 1 and Norfolk 1 at the top. But look at the ones leaving our district, then they are leaving. They were never here. They moved into town, but they want to stay at Cotter. So I recommend that you all approve this.
okay.
Did they move in October or?
Yeah, I mean, these are all recent movements. Yeah, it's crazy.
We have to do it Ms. Horton, the new rule is any transfer request within 5 days of the board meeting, we have to get on that board agenda. Mr. C's so good, some of these were probably yesterday.
Yeah, we're trying to get them in here, so you can get done with the stuff. These are all people that moved homes. They want to stay in the school they're at, which I don't blame them.
Do I have a recommendation?
Well, we have to go kid by kid still.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to try to
Can
change
we,
that for next month.
So before we, can I speak
Sure.
right now? Okay, so as you know, I did have, Ms. Kelly found a district in the state that had done a resolution with the board. They approved that the superintendent make the decision on the transfers and then simply bring the number to you all. Not going one by one, you would approve basically a slate.
Mhm.
You would be notified month to month, which was the recommendation of how many are going in and out. That's what they recommended. If that's the direction that the board would like to go, we can discuss that, maybe in board discussion, and decide if that's the direction you all would like me to go and bring something to you next month with a resolution. We would have to have a resolution before we could move forward.
And these are like
I
said-
also, I'm sorry, Mr. C. I also sent that, I wanted to assure you, I also sent that to ASBA to double check with their lawyer and policy guy.
And it's
So
okay.
I have the information from him explaining.
Very good.
Like I said, every month, we vet this between districts, and anything that's even remotely strange, that the Scoops and the Soups know what's going on, and then we make the decision together.
Also, any child that we say no to, with the new Learns Act, the parent has the opportunity to speak before the board. So,
Okay.
as we think about a resolution, you might want to know that
Checks and balances.
there are checks and balances there, and it is, the parent can come to you.
Mhm.
It would be at the board meeting, they're making the decision on with their kid, not
Right.
not the next one.
Right. Okay.
All right, so we'll go kid by kid, folks.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 1.
Second.
Have a second? All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 2.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous?
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter, Norfolk student 1.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous?
Now the outgoing ones that aren't outgoing.
Don't confuse us. The outgoing.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 1.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 2.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 3.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 4.
Second.
Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 5.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 6.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 7.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 8.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 9.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Somebody say no, just for fun.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 10.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Make a motion, we transfer Cotter student 11.
Second.
All in favor? We have 4 yeses and 1 no.
If you pass the resolution, I'm going to miss your facial expression. That's what I'm going to miss. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ron.
Phone number out there.
So gentlemen, what'd you think of that? You guys don't do that in the Navy, do you? Things like that. Glad you're all here. Glad you're back.
So,
Miss Dewey will.
yes. Could I go ahead? We have a video, a very short video we'd like to show, but we're going to go back up to see the for presentations.
Hey Bomber Nation, Commanding Officer Adam Conkey here with the crew of the Submarine Arkansas. Thanks for partnering with us on board Arkansas as honorary silent travelers. We are excited to be part of Bomber Nation representing your school in the great state of Arkansas from Newport News, Virginia. Travel silent! Travel deep! Go Bombers!
That's awesome.
Commander Hell and Chief Williams, could you come forward? Could you give a little background of what's going on?
Yes, ma'am. All right, so right after I started here, I knew that the Navy was building a submarine, USS Arkansas, and so I reached out to the command and got them to adopt us as their official ROTC unit. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. That's really weird.
It's special.
It
This
is
is
It
huge.
is special. This is huge. And now they're here, and it actually come to fruition, and their namesake visit started today. We visited all the schools in the district. They got to hang out with kindergartners and high-five them and talk to the kids at Pinkston and Hackler and Nelson Wilkes, and then they did a presentation at the junior high and the high school. The Cobb just used the ship's coin, or his coin, huge coin, as a coin toss for the 9th grade football game.
Wow.
Which will be given to, or has already been given to the athletics department to be enshrined in history here at Mountain Home. There are bigger units as of now than Mountain Home NJROTC, but their leadership isn't submarine specific, and so we had a little bit of an advantage, and I called and got them to adopt us. So we are now honorary silent travelers, and they are honorary bombers.
Wow.
That relationship will continue for the next 30 years as Arkansas serves our nation. Anytime they're in a foreign port, it's going to say USS Arkansas across the side of it, and they're going to represent our state, and we are their liaisons to the state. Like I said, it started today. Tomorrow, they're going to be at the 30th anniversary at Bomber Stadium at 1600, 4 p.m. for the civilians in the room. So you're welcome to come out, eat a hamburger, hot dog, shake the hand of the captain and the crew. Monday, we're going to meet the governor, Secretary of State, tour the Capitol, Military Hall of Honor, all of that down in Little Rock. It's a huge deal. Saturday, they are going to be recognized on the field at the Arkansas Razorbacks game, and my cadets, our cadets, are going to be there to experience that occasion on the field next to them to get to see that. As this relationship goes forward, they'll have a christening ceremony. We're going to take cadets to Virginia to be able to witness that history. They'll have a commissioning ceremony. We're going to take cadets right back. And so for the next 3 years, until the Arkansas is put into service, your cadets will be right there at every step because of this relationship. And
That's fantastic.
Tonight, they're here for you to meet them and present what you have for them. We're excited about it. I hope that you're as excited as well. You have anything before I introduce the captain? Say enough. All right. So, Commander Conkey enlisted in the Navy as a submarine sonar technician in 1993, so he is as old. His naval career is as old as the ROTC unit here.
Easy.
Like me, he crossed over to the dark side a few years in 2001. He went to be an officer with his Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering from the University of Minnesota. He's been on several submarines, the Alexandria, Louisiana, several others, and his last tour before the Arkansas was on the USS Rhode Island as the executive officer. Commander Conkey is a Conrad Scholar, Certified Information Security Professional, Certified Defense Financial Manager. He has 6 Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medals, 2 Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medals, and he's married with 6 children.
Good for you.
Bomber Nation, I introduce to you the Commanding Officer, PCU Arkansas, Commander Adam Conkey.
Thank you so much, School Board Superintendent, for that warm introduction. I have 10 of our crew members here with us as well. So I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about the future USS Arkansas and kind of what we've been doing on board the submarine. So we have just completed the milestone at the shipyard called Pressure Hull Complete, which means that they welded all the steel together and basically got all the big parts inside the submarine they're going to put in there. And now it's time to basically fire up the systems for the first time, train the crew. So we're not just building a warship, but we're also building a crew of warfighters. And we were looking for somebody, so we're not allowed to solicit. We're kind of waiting for somebody to raise their hand and say, hey, we want to partner with the USS Arkansas. And we were lucky that Commander Andy Hale reached out to us at exactly the right time for exactly what we were looking for. So we're very honored to be here with the school and partnering with the Bombers here. And we have gotten such a warm introduction from your students, and we are absolutely blessed and happy to be here. So I have something specific for you here, Superintendent. This is my coin here. So.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So we have a presentation for you as well. This is presented by Mountain Home High School Career Academies to the officers and crew of the USS Arkansas as honorary bombers.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So this is from the crew of the Arkansas to the school board here. So this is the ship's logo, and there's lots of Arkansas symbology in here.
Razorback.
We got the Razorback thing. We got 2 former Arkansas CGN 41, which is a nuclear cruiser, and we have the battleship Arkansas, and then we have Garfish, the state fish. We have the Ozarks in the background, and a lot of interesting stuff there.
That's
So.
awesome.
It is emotional. Yeah, crazy.
A little side note, my stepson just retired as a captain in the Navy.
Awesome. Okay.
And he graduated from Mountain Home, so he's going to be watching this on YouTube tonight. So, hey, Trey.
That's great.
Yes, thank you so much.
It's a small world, right? So.
Oh, can you?
Can I do one with all of the?
Absolutely. Come on up through.
Everybody?
Yeah, I would love it. That'd be amazing. I was going to skip one behind this. I didn't know when you did.
Absolutely. Come on, guys. You guys run. You're all taller than me.
That works good when you're on a submarine being short. If there's seven.
Okay, we'll do 1, 2.
This side.
Very good. Here, I'm going to see you first. Good. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good.
So I would love, I believe it went to Hackler. Can you tell the board what the best question was?
Oh, yes.
This got to come from you.
Best question of the day.
And so it was actually the seventh grade presentation we did. It was the very last question of the day, and the kid was kind of nervous about asking it. He actually blamed him asking it on the person sitting next to him. But the question is, who would win in a fight between a submarine and a megalodon?
A megalodon.
So, I was like, that's actually a great question. It's probably the funnest question we had all day. So my answer to that was, if megalodon was sneaking up on us and we didn't know it existed, then maybe it might have a shot. But I was like, if it's one-on-one fight, we know they're out there, then absolutely, without a doubt, the submarine would win.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you all
fun.
very much.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You're free to go.
Commander Hell and Chief Williams, thank you.
Yeah, if it wasn't for
making
you.
this possible.
Yep, and our program has just grown by leaps
Just
and
exploded,
bounds.
and so excited about tomorrow and that celebration.
Yes, we'll all be there.
100, so we
150.
are over 150, which
Wow.
means a lot of things that we're not going to talk about right now.
Yes, that's great.
Or later.
Yes. Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Thank you
gentlemen.
for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, best purchase.
Okay, wow. Follow that, Dana.
I know.
Can you follow that? That is
Can we
awesome.
buy a submarine?
I'm gonna take a
Can we
picture.
buy a submarine? Yeah, let me ask about that.
Put that in the budget.
Yeah, that's gonna be CTE all the way. Perkins
Ooh.
project. That
Perkins
is exactly my
project,
next
build a
project.
Goodness.
Submarine.
Tonight, I'm representing Guy Berry College and Career Academy. As you remember, we received the APSRC Charter School Grant in 22-23. Part of that grant allowed for a purchase of buses for Guy Berry to transport our students to industry partner locations for job-based learning opportunities, as well as to and from home to Guy Berry. So the rationale is part of the approved application, the budget and timeline, and the implementation phase of the grant is through 23-24. It's time to purchase that second bus. The recommendation is for the board to approve the purchase of a 2024 Chevy 30-passenger microbus, gasoline, not electric, not diesel, in the amount of $108,335, and this will be purchased through the APSRC grant, and the estimated delivery date for the bus is between 240 to 320 days from the receipt of the purchase order. So within the link, there's the specs for the bus. I did check, we could not purchase a used bus or move things around in that manner because it's federal funds, so we have to purchase a new bus. And so what the good thing is if Guy Berry is using a bus, then that bus can go into our regular fleet. In rotation, and they get the micro 30-passenger bus. And hopefully I will not have to come back for an amendment depending on supply chain, so hopefully this will be, we'll get it within, won't have to change or do anything like that, or it won't go up.
Very good. Do we have a recommendation?
Make a motion, we accept
Motion.
the recommendation as submitted.
Second.
We'll give it to Bill.
Okay.
Second for Bill.
So if we cut the PO now, that doesn't guarantee us.
Well, it depends on the supply chain.
Okay.
So again, right now, yes, we're good if it's within this window. If it goes outside the window, then it might come back. I'm just giving you a heads up because that happened the last time.
Yeah.
So I think things are better now, but
And the way the grant is written, funded, we couldn't do anything else with that money anyway. Is that,
Well, whenever we wrote the application and we got it approved in 22-23, that was, Dr. Long had requested that we do ask for 2 buses. So the way the grant is set up, it was within phases. So you had a planning phase, which was very specific with items that we could budget for, like salaries, like a partial salary of Mr. Kincaid, partial salary of Ms. Gatewood, and then other items within that you guys approved. So then now we've moved to the implementation phase, and within that phase, we've hit the first bus, and now we're ready for the second bus. Right. So we allocated that amount, and no, we could not move that because that budget's already
been
approved.
allocated for
Correct.
that bus?
Well, now, yes. So now what we're looking at is, we've already gone through 1 fiscal year. Right now, I've requested to have the amount that we had remaining to be carried over to this year and for them to approve it, but we have a little bit of leeway to make budget adjustments for some of the materials and supplies that they're asking for in some of the areas that we see that we're not going to be utilizing. For example, we may be looking at moving money out of some of the professional development when we can use other funds to do that versus, which is what the goal is for APSRC. You want to use those funds for things that you couldn't purchase with something else.
Correct.
Or you could use, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the areas that we've talked about with Mr. Kincaid and Mr. Martin and Ms. Dewey to make sure that we're all on the same page and moving, making sure we make the most of the money. And like I said, 2 buses is what we had started with when we began the process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for maximizing those resources.
Oh, you're welcome. Let me tell you, the
Because-
drawdown process is tedious, and I do that, and it's very tedious.
Yes.
Jim Fowler and I are on a first-name basis, and I have a cell phone number, so we get a lot of stuff accomplished. But they've been really good to work with us and to make sure that we are spending our money appropriately.
Thank you for that work.
Very good. Any other questions or discussion?
Good for the kids.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Dana. Ms. Corp, PPC, request to approve the Section 3 policy update.
So, this is policy section, or policy 3.8, section G, which involves funeral leave. And on behalf of PPC, we are trying to align our policy with the classified policy. And so that's what these changes have done. And then they also provide more clarification as to what is qualified under the funeral leave. So.
Has everybody had a chance to go over this and look at it?
Yeah. Make a motion, we accept the recommendation as submitted.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Barbara, any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Corp, that was easy. Mr. Steve, request to approve Section 8 policy update.
This one will be even easier.
All right, we like that.
So in the spring, when they released the ASBA updates, they came out with a new policy 3 and a new policy 8 for PBC and CPBC that basically just told us, who we need to elect, all the basic stuff of it. So y'all approved that policy. We should have just removed the old policy at the same time, but we did not. So that's what I'm here for tonight, is to remove 8.1.01. Don't know why it was named like that, but remove that one from our policy and just keep the newer 8.0.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion for Mr. Steve? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Steve. All right, board discussion. Hearing none. Barring none.
What comes to mind?
I guess none.
This is like free time, we could.
Free time.
Yeah,
It's
oh,
free
well,
time.
be
Or
careful with the
discussion.
anything. Go ahead.
For discussion.
Go ahead, Bob. Got anything?
Well, I thought the graph for the early reading was good. I would like to see an overlay on that.
Yes, sir.
And the second graph looked more like I'd like to see. You know, when we've got a gap from, and I don't want to pick the grade, but I'd like to have like a more of an understanding. I'm kind of the guy that thinks you can't succeed unless you fail once in a while. I'm not saying turn the whole thing upside down and do it different, but let's start trying some new things without the fear of failing. I mean, let's put some guardrails on it, of course, but, you know, let's try some stuff, and we are pretty far off of, as a country, off of grade level, and public education is getting some pushback from the public for that. So, whatever we can do to support our teachers, and not just come down and, oh, you failed, so that there's that fear and intimidation. I don't want to see that, but I would like to see year over year consistent improvements and measurable results, and accept where we're failing and do better where we can. There.
Very good. Shall we discuss the student transfer
Sure.
idea?
Yes, thank you for remembering.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
What are your thoughts on a resolution to allow me to approve or deny those and then bring that to you as a total number?
What would be the reason not to? Is there any reason not to?
I can't see a
Other than us
reason not
sitting
to, unless it's just that you would know exactly where kids are coming from.
But we would
at time,
have.
But I can give you that.
Yeah.
I could do, we accepted 3 from Cotter. We accepted 3 from Norfolk. We transferred out 2 to Viola this month. As a report, we could do that.
I'm okay with getting it as a report rather than going
Right.
through it individually. I mean, it.
For sure.
You know, parents still have that safety net.
Right, they can still come and.
Families.
And we don't have to accept any right that require us to hire more
No, sir.
people.
Teachers, right.
So
Well,
that's-
no, we don't have to.
Right.
But the parent can still.
But they can
come.
still come and discuss, argue their side.
We haven't found, you know, Mr. C does a great job of going through those beforehand so that it either never comes to you because he realizes this is, you know, he talks to the folks. He's very good at making sure, double checking, talking to principals.
And I think it's Rogers that has,
That was Rogers that I
That-
presented to
mhm.
you. They do have an attorney on staff as well, and.
and Norfolk is doing it
Norfolk is doing it as
also.
well. I did not know that. Thank you, Kelly. And we were able to also, like I said, I sent it to Lucas Harder at ASBA for him to make sure it fit policy and there weren't any, wouldn't be any legal issues.
So we're all on board for making this resolution, and so that way next month we can,
Well, I can.
Hopefully,
On board for me
Kelly.
to bring you one.
okay.
And
And then vote on
I
it.
can bring that as an action item, and you all can decide. We will have to do transfers as we have been, unless I
Mhm.
can get it, we probably would need to do it. Go ahead and do transfers as we have been next month.
Right.
If
and
this is
start-
approved,
Along with
Your,
it would be ready to go.
the November 2nd, can we vote on it then or not?
We weren't planning on having any action items because it's just a training.
Yeah,
Okay.
But we, yes, if it was a board meeting, we could. I hate to.
how
call
about the
a full
luncheon
meeting.
board meeting?
Well, if we have a quorum, I had let y'all know that I would try to stay away from action items,
Yeah.
just so there wasn't that
It's not
pressure
that, it's not like it's really
for those
pressing.
of you, which there may be an emergency.
We'll just wait till December, because it's not like it's
Well,
life
yeah,
or
regular
death.
November meeting.
Or November meeting, yes.
I could do that.
Ron, did you have something?
Yes.
Yeah, when of the, if there's a report, what day do I have to have that to you to get to them?
Right before.
If-
Day of, day-
If it's like a week before, There have been 5 of these kids not.
No, it won't. I mean, we'll discuss that, but I got an idea. If the board approves that resolution next month. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Because nothing is for
It's
sure
true.
until it's approved.
Okay. Any other board discussion? Boring
I
discussion?
don't know, but I think that with the Navy is absolutely.
It's fantastic.
That's,
We are so
I
lucky
mean, yeah.
to have
That's a
that.
big deal.
It's a
That's
very-
not-
Huge.
That's not just, oh, well, yeah, everybody has one of those, or.
No, this is big time.
That's gonna help our program.
So
even more.
Commander-in-Chief came to us this summer, and Miss Kelly and Jennifer and all of us, they said, we gotta see you now. We gotta see you now. And I was like, they've not been funded. What's happening? This is falling apart. Here it goes. And, I mean, they came in just itching. They want to see Jennifer and I at the same time, because I'm thinking she's gonna have to push something out, what's going on. And they were beside themselves. And I don't think I realized that day what a big deal
Huge.
this is. But as the planning continued and the planning, it's the people they have contacted. Just the fact that they're going to the Razorback game and going to
Yeah.
Pound Field, and they're going to the Capitol, and the plan is for the governor
Mhm.
to be there. They were at the city. They did not tell you this, but they had just left the city council where they were given the key to the city. That's
Wow.
where the chief
Yeah, it
was,
is.
and I hope I said it
It should
correctly.
be a big
Chief
deal.
Commander Hale can really get things done.
Yes.
If I have any trouble from now on getting somebody to answer or help or support, he's my guy.
He
And
is
they did come in
bulldog.
with completely stoic faces that day, so I also was really afraid we were in trouble, but that's just them. That's their training,
Yeah.
They came in and they were very serious about it, and then we were really.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
And to go from, I remember it was 27 kids at one time for ROTC.
Barely.
We thought we were going to have to just shut the program down, and now we're at 155.
155.
That's amazing.
Which means completely,
Funded.
that's our next step. They've hit over 150, but that's definitely for another board meeting.
Yeah,
To
that's
talk about.
fantastic.
Awesome opportunity for our kids.
Mhm.
And it's not just military, we know that. It is teaching kids respect,
Mhm.
self-control, discipline, honor, community service.
Yes,
It's
respect. I would love to see a YouTube video or of the submarine inside walkthrough.
I did find some stuff online today where you can see what did he call it, the pressure?
Pressurization.
Yeah, I saw where they had done, I Googled it today to make sure I had everything straight.
I know
as
you
far
being a
as-
jarhead, you probably don't like all this, but you know.
They're
Jughead,
they're a
jarhead, what do they
taxi.
call
They're
you
just the
guys?
taxi for the Marines.
That was a joke.
Glad you did it while they were gone.
Oh, down they're here.
Yeah.
They can get their, brooms and sweep and swab and, no, go ahead.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna
you
say, Jennifer,
you don't need to
Yeah.
put that anywhere.
We have another Navy man.
It's already on
We
the
have a Navy man here.
social media outlet.
So, Superintendent?
Okay, superintendent update.
All right, so November 2nd from 5 to 6 o'clock will be the
Put that in the
Facilities
calendar.
Master Plan Community Input Meeting.
That's a lot of words.
It's a lot of
Yes,
words.
it's a big night.
Probably a
So,
lot more words.
5 to 6,
Mhm.
Elisa will lead that, and it will be here.
Okay.
6 to 9, I think it's 9, I may be off there, maybe 6 to 8, I cannot remember, but starting at 6, we will have our training session concerning facilities for the board. We will go ahead and keep that open, just because folks want to be trained on facilities. You will be given hours as far as that goes. She is also doing our safety walkthrough that day, the first round. That's going to be required, and then Officer Helmert will be involved with that. And that's going through all the campuses, looking at
Big day.
where we are as far as safety goes as well. Big day, and she provides that service. Just provides it because she's our consultant.
Very good.
November 6th through the 14th. That is the candidate filing for school board positions. March primary will be the election. November 6th is also our noon board meeting, but it's not at noon. I believe it's at 10:45. Lunch will be first, and that is at Pinkston. December 6th through the 8th, ASBA conference in Little Rock. I'll be reaching out to see who plans on attending next day or so. We do need a voting delegate. As you remember, the voting delegate, the ASBA Delegate Assembly, is the policy-making body of ASBA, meets during the conference. All ASBA school boards are allotted one voting representative.
Traditionally, board president
Yes, I was it
is
last
the
year.
delegate.
Traditionally,
But
that's
that
great
is,
tradition.
that meeting is like 5 o'clock on a Wednesday evening in Little Rock.
Mhm.
Is that
So,
the day before, or
It's
is
the-
that
Wednesday.
It's
The day it
it's like-
starts.
Yeah, it's
So
the
December
day it
6th?
starts.
It's the day it
Typically,
starts.
the conference is,
Did you say November or December?
December
December.
6th, 7, and 8. And I could not find the times online yet, but I'm sure it's the same
yeah.
setup as you.
Typically, there's the pre-conference
Mhm.
in that morning, and then there's a couple afternoon workshops,
Sessions.
and then a
There's that.
break, and then the delegate assembly, and then adjourn for the evening, so.
Okay, if you want me to. If you vote me in,
It's not tough, you just raise your hand, basically.
That's
Yeah.
for
I mean,
y'all
it-
to.
Gotta have a card. They give you a card, you go in there.
Owning your own business and getting there at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday is difficult.
and it's my 30th anniversary, so.
No, then don't, we can.
There's
No, no,
somebody
no,
else?
it's not. He's coming with me. So
Okay.
We're gonna spend it.
He's coming up?
Yes,
He's going with you.
he's going this time,
I'll
after
believe it when I see it.
15 years of school board, yeah.
Well, I'll do it. That's no problem.
If you want to.
I mean, it's your anniversary.
I know, but we're gonna go to dinner. and-
That's important.
If you don't want me to do it, I
Especially
don't
to get
care.
Dick out of town.
I know.
Y'all just need to decide.
Pick one.
I don't get to do that.
You don't?
No, y'all have to pick.
You going anyway?
I'm going anyway.
Then it's you.
Okay.
Okay, Jason will be.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
All in
Thank you,
favor of Jason?
All right.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
All right, so Jason will be.
Jason is our delegate.
the voting
Jason
delegate.
said,
You've done it
a
before.
few times.
Okay.
So as we finish up, I'd have completed my 90 days on September 28th.
Congratulations,
Thank
you're
you.
still here.
Thank you.
And alive.
I
And
do-
smiling.
Yeah, I am.
Good girl.
I feel confident about the direction that we're headed.
I do too.
In the transition, I do want to say that I couldn't have done it without the support of our administrators, teachers, staff, and you all. I had some goals for those days. I have sent you all that. I was able to meet those and come up with some more along the way. I felt like I even added some as things continued. Some goals I have for the upcoming couple of weeks, I'm going to try to get into some CT meetings, those collaborative team meetings that follow that PLC model. Mr. Rose has been doing a great job of that. I just hope our teachers know that that's not evaluative. It's just so that I can really continue that focus on academics for the district. Teachers are doing great stuff, and I want to see it. Continue to get to see it.
Excellent.
And
You're doing a great job.
That is all I have as
Okay.
far as superintendent's update.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to get off their mind or chest? Okay. All right, so we will break for executive session to discuss personnel at 7:13. Did I hit it hard enough?